So I don't usually do this, but I felt I needed to. I feel like there's a subject that we don't talk about enough, and that's mental conditions. I feel like there are so many people out there who are unaware and uneducated when it comes to these conditions. There are thousands of people who suffer from these conditions every day, and it's hard for them. It's really hard. And I feel like there should be more information pushed into the media about these problems, because we're seeing it more every day in our children, in adults even. It's there. And I feel like there are too many people out there who think that you do it for attention. And it's not for attention. Your brain produces a chemical called serotonin. And for a normal person who does not suffer from an emotional disorder, it drips like an IV. You feel normal emotion. You process it normally. But for someone like me, it's either a floodgate of emotion and serotonin, or it's a dry well of nothing. When you wake up in the morning and you feel blank, it's scary because you don't understand why. When you wake up and you're sad, but you don't have a reason to be sad, it's that chemical imbalance that's causing it. I feel that people should talk about it more, because if we don't talk about it, no one is aware. So for anyone out there who suffers from any of these conditions like I do, I want you to know that you're not alone. There are thousands of other people out there who ride that same emotional roller coaster that you do every day. You are not different. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not crazy. You are not a lunatic. You have a chemical imbalance in your brain. And you shouldn't be held accountable for that, because you didn't ask for it. You can't control it. You can't fix it. There's no cure. You can medicate it. But the problem with that comes is I feel like I'm a prisoner to my medication, because without it, I'm emotionally unstable. And that affects people around me. That affects my loved ones. It took me years to find a medication in which really worked for me. And with it, I'm great. Now, from time to time, I do have a moment of temporary relapse where that emotion hits and I can't stop it. None of us can. And I feel like people want to be good. People want to understand. But you don't take the time to. Because it doesn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't benefit you in any way. But for those of you who love someone or know someone who suffers from these conditions, keep in mind that they know. They are aware of how their conditions affect everyone around them. We are aware of how it looks, of how it sounds. We're even aware of how it feels, and that's the one you lack. Don't tell someone who suffers from one of these conditions to just be happy, to just smile. It'll be okay, because it will never be okay for us, not in that moment. And nothing you say, like be happy, just let it go, none of that is helping. It's only fueling the sadness to a whole nother level. I feel that if we could take the time to try to understand, we would live in a much better place. There are so many difficulties that people face every day with these conditions that some of us don't even want to come out of our house. We don't want to get dressed. We don't even want to brush our hair. And you know what? Oh well, it doesn't affect you. But if you want to understand, go out there and be that person who does that kind gesture, who smiles or waves or opens a door or asks how your day was. Because for someone who suffers from these conditions, that can literally be the split second between what breaks and makes that person's day. Don't ever judge someone because they're having an emotional outbreak. Don't judge that person. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. Be supportive. Now, for all you significant others out there who love someone who suffers from this condition, I promise you that they feel worse about how their conditions affect you than you do because of those conditions. We don't want to be different. I want to be as emotionally stable as the next person. But without medication, I can't do that. And that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or there's something wrong with me. It just means that you have to try a little harder every day. It just means that you have to want to get out of bed, to get dressed, to take the dog for a walk, to go to Walmart and buy groceries. That's a struggle for people who suffer with these conditions. If you want to be a snotty person who always has something negative to say about someone who suffers from these conditions, you're literally evil. That's like picking on someone for having cancer. They didn't ask to have that condition. I didn't ask to have the conditions that I have. I'm very self-aware of my conditions. And I handle and manage them pretty good, actually. It took me years to get to that place. But I'm there. So you're not alone. You're not left behind. I feel as a human race, it is our job to take care of each other. And I feel like that doesn't happen. I feel like people most of the time think that you're doing it for attention or because you want the world to feel sorry for you. But let me tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you to pity me. That's not what I want. We want support. We want you to try and understand. And we understand if you can't fully wrap your brain around it, because not even the ones of us that are self-aware of our conditions can wrap our brain around it fully. It confuses us every day. One of the worst feelings in the world is feeling unaccepted. Now, I personally know how this feels. It's very devastating. You feel like the whole world would just move on better if you weren't in it. You feel like the people in your life would be better off or happier if you weren't there. These things are not true. You have an opinion. You are someone. You have a soul. I used to wake up every day and ask, why does God hate me? Why do I have to have these problems? Why can't I be normal? And I used to think that he hated me. But then I learned that I hated me. I looked in the mirror and was disgusted with the person I had become. I had allowed my conditions to take over and control me. My impulsive actions and everything that came with it. I allowed that to control my life. And it took me a very long time to realize that. Like I said, I woke up one day, looked in the mirror, and was absolutely disgusted with the person that I had become. The person that I let my chemical imbalance turn me into. And I decided right then and there that I wasn't going to be that person. That I was going to be me to the fullest, no matter how hard it was to chase that every day. And it was really hard. Terrifying even. But after a while, it became a little easier. And I still struggle with it now on a daily basis. But not like I did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You know, this is something that doesn't spring up overnight. You're born with it. And we shouldn't have to hide that because we feel emotion differently. You know, we shouldn't have to hide from the world. The world should be smart enough to understand, or at least be educated on this subject. So keep your head up and know that there are other people out there every day who go through what you go through. You're not alone, and you never will be. There's nothing wrong with you. Go out in the world and be that person that makes someone else's day better. Be that person that you want your kids to be, that you want the next generation to be. Because God knows they're all wrapped up in their cell phones. Half of them don't even know how to write a letter anymore. It's so easy to get on social media and talk a big game. And half the time, it's all it is talk. But when you get on social media and you abuse other people for things that they go through or who they are or what they look like, where they come from, how much money they have, that is the evil in you. I don't want that evil in my life. It causes my condition to show its ugly face. And I would rather keep that on lock. So, for anyone out there who doesn't understand, pick up a book. Read an article. We all have cell phones now. You have no excuse. Educate yourself on these conditions and be that person that someone else needs at some point. Because if one of your friends who suffers from these conditions, if they remove themselves from a gathering or you don't hear from them for days, know that it's not about you. It's about them. They are finding themselves all over. And it's hard to do. Know that we still care. It's just sometimes the outside world can be a danger to us, especially if we're having an emotional moment. It can be dangerous because anything could happen. Can flip out in public, go to jail, hurt someone, scare the crap out of some kids. It's not cool. We don't enjoy it. We don't do it for attention. I don't like the fact that I have conditions like this. But it's who I am. It's part of me. If I could change it, I would. Trust me, I so would. But I can't. I can't take it back. I can't fix it. There's no cure. So the next time that you see someone having a bad day, don't judge. Be kind. Because that small act of kindness could change their whole world, and you don't even know it. That person could literally be on the verge of suicide, and you be that last little grain of salt that they needed to take that jump. And when you think about it, if you're bullying someone to the point where they take their own life, you might as well be a murderer. Even though you didn't force that. You toyed with someone who had an emotional condition in which you caused to act up even worse, convincing themselves that they should just kill themselves. And that's what happens. And then mothers and fathers and sons and daughters and husbands and wives, they lose the ones they love because you wanted to be mean. I feel like this is a subject that should be spoken about way more. It is so close to home that you don't even know it. And that's the sad part. So many of us wander the face of this earth lost in our own thoughts because we are afraid for the world to see it. We already feel vulnerable. And when you peel back that fresh layer of skin and show the world that part of you, it's embarrassing. It's terrifying. So if someone you know is willing to open up to you about their problems or how they feel, remember to listen, to understand, not to respond. It's not about you. Regardless of what that person says in the moment, it's not about you. They are suffering internally. They are battling themselves, and they know it is a fight they will never win. So don't be judgmental. Don't make that person feel like they are less than what they really are because it makes you feel good. Because it just tells the world that at the end of the day, you're miserable with yourself. You need some soul searching and some self-finding. So if you ride that emotional roller coaster like I do every day, I just want you to know that I am proud of you. I envy your strength because it takes a lot to get out of bed sometimes. It takes a lot to function in everyday life sometimes. So go hug your anxiety-filled friend. Talk to that person who's in the corner hiding, biting their nails. Because they really just want to be accepted. They want to know that you see them like you see everyone else. So go out there today and do something kind for someone you don't know. Go out there and be the better person that you want to be. Spread that to other people because it is contagious. One act of kindness can cause a ripple that rolls through time and affects thousands of people, not just one person. So keep your head up. Don't ever stop fighting the fight. And don't let anyone tell you that you're unworthy or that you are different, because you are not. You experience emotion differently, yes, but you're still a human. And for those of you out there who think that it's for attention, or think that, you know, we're just doing it because we want people to cater to us, or we want the attention, or we want you to feel sorry for us. That's not what it's about. Don't be that kind of person, because like I said, you can literally be the split second between what makes and breaks their day. So go out there, spread kindness, be happy with who you are. Know that you have a condition that causes you to feel this way, but that none of those feelings about who you are true. The only person who knows who you truly are is you. So go out there every day and fight for that person. Go out there and be that person that you want to be. Show the world that you're no different. Because in the end, you're really not. So keep your head up and don't let the world get you down. Live on top of it. Walk over those people on your way to the top. Because let me tell you something. If you try hard in life, you usually get what you want. So keep fighting and don't give up. Because I'm not giving up.